Hello, today I'll be talking about the Forta Furniture case study. It was basically a Romanian country that decided to go global but did not do so well because they did not change or adapt to the existing competitive market. A brief background of Forta Furniture would be that they used to be the biggest manufacturer of furniture in Europe, ranking in number 2, and they had a 1.2 retail revenue in 2014, which was really good. But they were established in 1992 by Alfred Maria. Initially, only they were selling refurbished products and other types of items, and their company name is defined as strength and durability. And they used a cost plus pricing strategy, which was outdated and made products way more expensive than it could have been. The company was selling to other retailers and then to the consumers for way more than what it should have been, so people were less likely to make purchases on it. Their strengths and weaknesses are that their strengths is that they do have a lot of experience, considering that they were successful at one point but failed to adapt and change into the changing market. They have a large domestic market share because 60% of the people buying their products are from Romania itself, and the other 30% comes from mainly Bulgaria and Poland from Western Europe, and Bulgaria being more closer to Romania. Weaknesses are that they do have a really outdated pricing strategy, making their products way more expensive than what they could have been, and there's other companies that sell it for better and the quality remains the same. They do not have an understanding of their consumer or who their buyer is. They don't have any type of target profile of who they want to target first, and not even anything that directs anything or relation to the younger market. They have really minor e-commerce use, meaning that they have zero online presence, which is really bad because if businesses want to do business with them, they can't because they won't be able to find them. And right now, in this day of time age, that people are more willing to go on the internet, find businesses, reach out to them through there. And this company, Forta Furniture, will most likely go unnoticed, and people will go to other businesses before they come to theirs, which gives them smaller revenue. And if they do want to go global, they should think about going online. As well as they have a minor global presence, and it should be able to adapt if they do decide to modernize their company and change a couple things. Question 1 is, what key factors does Forta need to do to evaluate as it considers expanding internationally? Well, they do need to understand who they want to target. Like, are they going to target the younger generations, or are they going to target the older? Right now, their products are very old-fashioned, outdated, and not the younger generation's type of style and what they're looking for. They are looking for more modern style versus maybe the more old-fashioned consumers that are willing to purchase their products, but they should nonetheless be able to change and adapt to markets to these different various target groups. They Before going into the country, they really need to understand the country itself and the people and what they want, because what people like in Romania might not be what people in Poland might like. So it's really important that they understand what products they're going to really try and sell versus what they're not, because if they put a product there that the country does not really like, they're probably going to go to another business. Pricing strategy, they really need to update their pricing strategy, meaning like they need to make sure they're pricing their products at a reasonable price, and what the country can actually afford isn't, if the average income is really low, maybe make their products a little bit maybe more cheaper. And if there are in countries that income is really high and they do have this like waste, like they are able to waste their money, then they can make their products a little bit more expensive. They also really need to modernize and adapt their country, especially because they are going global and they can't just go in with their outdated self. and they really need to make an online presence for consumers and other business to contact them so they can do further business, further purchases, and people can actually be able to find them. Question two, what are benefits of expanding internationally? Well, of course, you'll get a increased revenue because your consumer base will be much more bigger, more people, more money. The Forta Furniture will be forced to adapt and innovate and change. So it'll be interesting for the company to modernize and attract these other types of customers. While they're doing all of that, they'll be also promoting the Romanian culture and business, and that will bring the maybe or change the Romanian bias that the furniture is probably shanty, old, outdated, not good, or well made, and they can easily find it in another company that does have better reviews. So if Forta Furniture does really well, it will take that bias away and bring in more business for Romania. Uh, Also, Forta Furniture now has a bigger consumer base, which adds to the increased revenue. And they'll also, by going globally, have the ability to compete in a more advanced market, meaning that they will have lots of competitors, such as IKEA, which is a very successful furniture company. And if they want to be as well or even better, they need to see what they're doing good and how they can be better than IKEA, and or else they're just gonna fall behind. What are reasons for and against waiting to launch in Western Europe? One, it's really expensive because they do have all these competitors. They need to adapt to what the people and what the country wants to see from them. So a lot of changes will be needed for their products, company itself, before they can even decide to go global. And they really need to have a really deep understanding and research of their consumer and country, because if they go into a country and they don't understand what the country is or what it's about, their products will not match, or they will not be as successful as they were if maybe the company had an interpreter and formed relationships with these countries and with these other people other than pure Romanians. And they, while they're doing all of that, understand what is doing really good in those other countries, like other competition, and how they can be better. Lastly, what should Maria Petrescu do? Which brand is better suited for which market? And should the entry be private or branded? I think Forta should go for Bulgaria because Forta is already well known in Bulgaria as itself, and they don't really need to do much rebranding, which will be less expensive than going to Poland, where it's a much more bigger country, and it will be very expensive for Forta to adapt and change and modernize their products to be able to be successful and worth it enough to go into Poland. So right now, it's really good that they do go into Bulgaria, where a lot of their customers are already coming from, and they can just expand within Bulgaria until it becomes more popular there. And they will obviously be going as a branded entry label because they won't be changing their name or anything. They'll just go in as themselves. For the Abelet, it would be interesting for them to go into Poland because they are a much more modernized company. So it will be easier for them to touch base in Poland and have other companies want to do business with them because they are easier to adapt, change, and market to these other companies. But they would enter as a private entry label because right now it'd be too expensive for them to really brand themselves since they aren't that well branded yet. So it would be too much expense for the company itself, and it would be much more, they will be making much more revenue if they just go in through as other companies, at least for the beginning.